Let's see, I got.
Yeah, I'd like to see less strip malls, bigger shopping centers with big box stores rather than a bunch of little strip malls all over the place.
Okay, so strip malls aren't your idea of what makes a good community.
It's just, to me, that's just a hodgepodge of shopping up and down the street, driving all over to get what you want, rather than a bigger shopping center. I mean, you still have like a strip mall within a bigger shopping center, but you have big box stores in there, something like, I'm trying to think of something in the area that's similar. It would be like where Mervyn's is,
Okay.
Temecula, something like that, where you have Kmart and Mervyn's and a few other bigger stores, and then you have smaller stores there also.
So let me go one step further on. How would you regulate that? Would that be through your general plan, or is that something that you want your planning commissioners to know, or what?
Well, I think both. General plan and I think the planning commissioners would probably play a role in it, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Right here.
Logo for our city, and not 5. The logo would be, we are all one.
Great idea. How about the gentleman in the back?
First, I want to applaud the mayor and the city council on the police presence, sheriff's presence that we've had in Wildemar. These guys have done a wonderful job. I'm a local business owner in town here, and the other morning I was leaving my business about 1 a.m. and pulling out the gate, and within seconds, 2 sheriff's cars showed up. Knew nobody should be coming out of my business at 1 o'clock in the morning, and they were right there. They said, "Oh, it's Doug, it's okay." So, Mayor Cashman, City Council, I want to applaud you, and I think everybody in this room should applaud you because you guys deserve it. The gentleman in front who was just talking about big box stores, go look at Hemet. Look at that Walmart that's been sitting on Florida Avenue for the last 5 or 6 years. Look at Palm Springs with Walmart. I think if you're going to bring big box stores in, there should be some kind of a connection that if they can't sell or do something with that building within a certain time, and let's build it for a senior center. Let's build it for a youth center. Not allow these buildings to be built. And sir, remember, it's the little guy, it's the little business owner that supports the town. Walmart doesn't give a flying flip. They said they give us lots of sales dollars, there's no doubt. But it's the little guy that takes care of the little guy. And we're still a little town. Thank you.
John.
For our parkways and our trails, I would like to see like natural oaks, scrub oaks or something planted along the side eventually to give us more of an arboristic effect, but something that's natural to the area where we may have to irrigate it initially, but with time it'll root itself in and it won't cost us anything for the long term. It'll just give us the effect of the trees.
Well, John, would that be safe to say then, does that tie in with the street beautification as well, or are you talking just specifically about trails?
Oh, trails, streets, parkways, all of it, yeah. It would all
And
tie
using
together.
indigenous kinds of Mediterranean landscape?
Correct.
Okay, very good. Who have I missed? Sir, have I got to you?
Yeah, in regards to the architecture of the city, it's obvious, a lot of people are real concerned about it. One of the things I think the city needs to do, or should certainly keep in mind when the development comes before design review, is that although we have a general plan and a specific plan for certain areas, the one thing that should be considered is flexibility. There should be trade-offs from the city to developers to enhance the beautification of the city. And that has to be done by people with vision within our city council that can recognize things that would be an advantage to the community.
Okay, very good. Let's see, let me check. How about this lady right in back here, please?
Going back to the image and appearance of our city, for those of us who've been here for a very long time, the graffiti is just appalling. And it's appearing on everything, from stop signs to people's homes to everything. So I think we need stronger graffiti ordinances and consequences, and when we catch somebody doing that, they should be the ones landscaping our city and cleaning up the graffiti. If we create some activities for teens that will get them off the streets and they'll stop doing that. But this graffiti invites crime, and we're just asking for it if we leave it up.
Yeah, I used to, I got my start in Parks and Recreation in government, and we used to say that graffiti begats graffiti. So the tiniest amount of graffiti is like a magnet for more graffiti, so you have to get rid of it right away. Let me ask you, just sort of ideologically, is graffiti the responsibility of government to clean up and get rid of, or is it the property owner? Anybody feel strongly? It's both? What if a property owner doesn't do it?
This area does have graffiti busters, and I've called them at least twice a week for the last 5 years. They're out within 2 to 3 days, and they do paint over a perfect match. And it's a fund that cleans our community and keeps the graffiti down. You should have noticed that Wildemar has a very low amount of graffiti showing because a lot of us call it in. It's a free toll number where they come out, they clean it up. Other areas don't have graffiti busters.
Okay. Let's see. Yes, sir, right here. We'll get a mic to you.
Yeah, just to touch on what a couple of people have said, when we're planning to make sure that the lot sizes, when they do start developing again, are adequate to keep the community's rural atmosphere still here so people aren't crowded together. And also to touch on what this young lady said earlier about the zero tolerance for crime. Some of that can be funded by traffic enforcement. I do see what the other young fellow said about the police presence in the area. It has increased, and I think that through strict enforcement of our traffic, so we might at least be able to fund part of the increased enforcement itself by citations and the revenue funds.
Okay. Let's think about that for a second on law enforcement. Does anybody think that the increased enforcement is a negative thing?
No, that's wrong.
One brave soul?
Probably overdue. Yeah.
Sad when we have to.
Okay. That might be changing culturally just a little bit, huh? Is it? There's actually a cop on every corner now, so maybe you should stop, huh?
Police got one too.
Emmett was a senior town. When the youngers moved in, the gangs moved in, they boosted up their police force, and now they pushed them back again where they came from.
Right. By the way, as graffiti begats graffiti, gangs begat gangs. And once they get a foothold in a community, they're almost impossible to weed out. So that's tough. We have to really think about it. But one other point to think about too, that you don't really put the two together, but an increased presence in law enforcement is a huge benefit to economic development. If businesses feel safe and their customers feel safe, it's a real plus for economic development. And we go out, when your council goes out and tries to sell us to have other businesses and employers come to town, that's one of the first questions they ask. Well, tell us about crime. So something to think about. How about weighing back
having a community resource center for needy families, for emergency service referrals, for when they become homeless or need assistance with utility or food or rental assistance, and working with these families to prevent future emergencies and breaking crimes against at-risk kids.
So, social services, do you see that as a function of government, or do you see that as a function of either faith-based or nonprofits?
It's a combination. It's nonprofit, which we are currently doing community outreach ministry, where we are right now dealing with many of these families across Southwest California, but I'm not sure how many people in Wildemar know that we are here and that we are working with all of the different schools and with Prison Fellowship and with United Way and with other nonprofit agencies and churches. All of our services that we provide are free. We just do fundraising in the community to provide these services, but we also do write grants.